My two sons ignored my calls for 3 days, so I flew 1,000 miles to make sure they were alive. I wish I had never opened that door. My name is Gary Cooper. I'm 52 years old, and I run a medical equipment company in Shaker Heights, Ohio. I built my business from nothing because I wanted my two sons, Harry and Darren, to have the childhood I never had. My father disappeared when I was 7. He never came home. So when my sons were born, I made myself a promise. They would never know what it felt like to be without a father. For 25 years, I kept that promise. Then everything changed in 3 days. It started with a boring letter. Harry's luxury apartment in Brickell was up for lease renewal. I was the guarantor. The property manager needed me to confirm one detail about Harry's income. Simple. I called him. No answer. I called again the next day. Still nothing. So I called Darren. Voicemail. I tried Harry again. Nothing. Then Darren again. Nothing. 3 days. 14 calls. Not one text. Not one "I'm okay." My wife Kate could see the fear building in me. "They're grown men, Gary," she said. "I know," I replied. "But 3 days without answering?" That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined car crashes, hospital rooms, police officers standing at my front door. I had already lost my father. I couldn't survive losing both my sons. So the next morning, Kate and I boarded the first flight to Miami. When we reached Harry's building, my hands were shaking. We rode the elevator to the 14th floor. I knocked, and then I heard something I never expected. Music, laughter, people celebrating. For 1 second I felt relief. Thank God. They were alive. Then the door opened. Harry stood there holding a drink. He looked surprised, then annoyed. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Kate nearly burst into tears. "We've been calling you for 3 days. We thought something terrible happened." Harry rolled his eyes. Then he said, "We saw your calls. We purposely didn't answer." My stomach dropped. "Why?" "Because we're tired of you hovering over us." Before I could respond, a young woman stepped beside him. She was holding a glass of champagne. She lifted her hand. A diamond ring caught the light. "I'm Haley," she said. "Harry's fiancée." My wife froze. Haley continued, "Today is our engagement party, and honestly, you're ruining it by showing up uninvited." My wife looked like someone had punched her. She had spent 20 years keeping her grandmother's antique ring polished, dreaming of giving it to the woman her son would marry. And she found out her son was engaged like this, in a hallway, as an unwanted guest. Then Darren appeared. He looked at us and sighed. "You couldn't let us have one day, could you?" I explained the lease situation. "I only called because I needed to confirm something before renewing your apartment." Darren laughed. "You always use money to keep tabs on us." Harry nodded. "Exactly. We don't need you." Then he looked directly into my eyes. "Stay on your own." I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I simply took Kate's hand. "Okay." We walked away. On the flight home, Kate cried the entire way. When we reached our house, she collapsed on the living room floor. "I kept that ring for 20 years, she whispered. I held her and realized something. I'd spent my whole life trying to protect my sons, but the person who had actually stood beside me through everything was lying broken in my arms. That night, Kate and I made a decision together. If our sons wanted independence, we would give it to them. The next morning, I called my lawyer, Paul. "Remove me from Harry's lease guarantee." Paul hesitated. "Gary, are you sure?" "I've never been more sure." The paperwork was filed that morning. The renewal deadline passed. 2 days later, Harry called. His voice was completely different. "Dad, there's a problem. The building says there's no guarantor. They're making us leave." I calmly answered, "You told me you didn't need me." "Dad, please, I can't qualify alone." "You wanted to be on your own, Harry." Silence. Then he whispered, "You're really doing this?" "Yes." I hung up, but I didn't stop there. Harry's business line of credit was secured by my company's collateral. I removed my collateral. Darren's vehicle loan had my guarantee. I withdrew it. I didn't scream. I didn't threaten them. I simply stopped protecting them from the consequences of their own decisions. Within weeks, the luxury apartment was gone. Harry's business collapsed, and both brothers eventually drove back to Ohio in a rented truck. They showed up at my house furious and desperate. Harry was crying. "How could you do this to your own sons?" I looked at him quietly. "I didn't destroy your life." I paused. "I removed my name from it." Darren shouted that I was getting revenge. I shook my head. "No. Revenge would be hurting you because you hurt me. This is different. This is adulthood." Then Kate walked into the room. Harry looked at her. "Mom, please. You can't agree with this." She stood beside me. "I do." "You both wanted to be left alone," she said. "So we're finally respecting your wishes." They had nothing left to say. They left that night, and for the first time in weeks, our house felt peaceful. But I made one final decision. I rewrote my will. If I die before Kate, everything goes to her. If she dies before me, everything comes to me. And when we're both gone, not $1 goes to Harry or Darren. Instead, our money will fund scholarships for children whose fathers never came home from military service. Children who understand what it means to grow up missing a father. Because I finally realized something. My sons didn't need my money. They made that very clear. But there are children in this world who would give anything just to have a father who calls them and asks, "Are you okay?" My sons asked me to stay on my own, so I did. And strangely enough, I discovered that my wife and I were never alone. We still had each other. And after 28 years of marriage, I realized something I should have understood long ago. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destroying the people who hurt you. It's simply stopping the rescue and letting them live with the consequences of their own choices.